Hello, friends. Very good evening to all of you. Welcome to the daily answer writing series at 10 p.m. Today, I have picked a very important article on a very important issue of demographic dividend. You must have come across this term demographic dividend very often in newspapers. So, let me just first analyze this editorial for you. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to frame a question in front of you. I'll pick a question from the daily practice sheet, and then I'm going to write a model answer in front of you. So let us try to analyze the editorial. So the context of the editorial is a, basically a lecture given by Ruchir Sharma, an acclaimed author. He has given a lecture recently, and in that lecture, what he has said that India has missed the bus of demographic dividend. And why does he say so? He says so because now the population growth, okay, now the population growth, particularly of the working age population growth in India, has fallen to 1.5%, has fallen to 1.5%, which was at the time of 2010. At the time of 2010, it was around 2%, and now it has fallen to basically 1.5%. And he says that there is a data, a lot of data is there, which says that for any economy which is growing at 6% or above 6%, the working age population growth must grow at 2% minimum. So since India's working age population now has fallen to 1.5%, working age population growth has fallen to 1.5%. So he says that now to dream of economic growth of 9% or 10% is just a dream. It can never be fulfilled as per this editorial. As per this editorial, what Ruchir Sharma says that to grow at more than 6% of economic growth, your working age population must grow at least 2%. But now India's working age population has fallen to 1.5%, that economic growth of the working age population, and therefore India cannot grow now at 9%, 10%. That is the whole basically essence of that editorial. I'll discuss the entire editorial, but here I would like to basically first explain you what is this demographic dividend. What is this demographic dividend? Why it is very important for every country. Every country will go through this demographic transition, and if there are some conditions met, then that demographic transition will change into demographic dividend. So just let me take a white sheet and let me just basically explain you what is this demographic dividend. See, let us now try to understand this concept of demographic dividend. Okay, let us try to understand. See, what is this demographic dividend? See, generally what happens is that with the falling fertility rate, okay, with the falling fertility rate, what happens is that, okay, number of dependent population basically starts falling, okay, and the percentage of working age population share in the total population starts increasing. So this is very important. With the fall in fertility rate, what happens is that the dependent population, what is the dependent population? The population below the age of 15 and the population above the age of 64, that is called dependent population. So here generally we are talking about the young dependent population with the children's. Okay, so what happens that the proportion of children in the entire population, dependent children, it starts falling. and the proportion of working age population starts increasing. Okay, so what will happen? Just you think what will happen. Okay, the first thing what will happen is that family, okay, because family has lower number of children, lower number of children. So what will happen? The family can what? Invest in the education, in the health of the child, because the family has now fewer children means what? They can invest more on the education, it can invest more on the health of the child. And obviously if there is more investment in health and education, we all know, then human capital formation will take place. Human capital formation will take place. Is this clear? Is this clear? So more human capital formation takes place in that economy. And we all know that human capital formation leads to what? Increase in productivity, increase in productivity, increase in productivity of the workforce, increase in productivity of the work is very important. Second point, what happens is that since the working age population, since the working age population increases, so there will be more labor force in that economy, and obviously the economy will grow. More economic growth will happen. More economic growth will happen if more jobs are available. Provided, if I'm making a very if more jobs are available. That is the second point. Third point, what happens is that since the family size is reducing, there is more saving. And more saving, what will happen? More saving will lead to more investments in the economy. More investments in the economy, and more investments will always lead to more economic growth. Okay, further what happens is that whenever the dependent population reduces, what happens? The per capita income basically increases. So problems like poverty and all that can be tackled. Okay, so these are basically what is called this entire phenomenon of increasing human capital formation with the lowering of fertility rate. Second, increasing per capita income. Third, increasing working age population and commensurate more number of people getting jobs, earning more incomes, the GDP of that country will increase. And this entire economic result which is happening because of the transition in demography is called demographic dividend. And one more thing, here I would like to make a social angle also. See what happens generally when the number of children in a family decrease, then what will happen? The women have more freedom to take up a job. So what will happen? Since children are less in number, okay, women are free to work. And once they are employed, what will happen? Female workforce participation rate will increase, and that will lead to gender dividend. So we have now one more term, gender dividend. The demographic transition will not just lead to demographic dividend, it will also lead to gender dividend, my friends. Very interesting point. So I hope now you are clear what is the concept of demographic dividend. Now let us see the editorial. Let us go back to the editorial, my friends. Let us see what the editorial is saying. Let us see the editorial. So basically what the editorial says, that in the basically the lecture, what Ruchi Sharma says, that now India should be satisfied with 5 to 6% of economic growth, because now it has missed the demographic bus. It has missed the demographic dividend bust. Further, he also tells that now what is happening entire world, there is increasing deglobalization, my friend. There is increasing deglobalization. We all know that because of the deglobalization, my friend, what happens? what happens? The export opportunities reduces. The export opportunities reduces. If you see the China, Japan, South Korea, East Asian tigers, they were able to increase their per capita income and reduce the poverty just because of exports. Their economy are export oriented economy. So if you see the trajectory of the world trade which has happened after the Second World War, you see that world trade was increasing. There was a lot of globalization was happening. But after the 2008 financial crisis, we are into a deglobalization phase where protectionism is increasing throughout the world. Throughout the world, protectionism is increasing. And in this environment, in this economic environment, it is very difficult for a country like India to export its goods outside. So export-led growth will be a challenge for India in this scenario, which China was able to do 20 years back or Japan was able to do 40 years back. India will face difficulties in basically going for export-led growth. And it has been seen throughout the world that consumption-led growth can never help in basically taking a country from lower income group to higher income group. If a country has to move from lower income group to a higher income group, my friends, it is very important for the country to export goods outside. Why? Because obviously the country is lower income group. So the consumption is not sufficient. Consumption level is not sufficient to basically power the growth engine. Only export can power those growth engines, which will increase the per capita income of the country. So that is a big challenge which Indian economy is going to face, according to Mr. Ruchir Sharma. However, now the author comes and says that the analysis of Ruchir Sharma is not completely correct. He says that, and he quotes National Family Health Survey data. What data he quotes? He says that as per the study done by C. Rangarajan, former RBI governor, and J.K. Satya, and the study what they have done, they have said that according to their study, Indian population is going to increase to 165 crore by the year 2050. It is going to increase, the population is going to increase till 2050 to 165 crore, and India will become one of the most populous country. So the working age population is going to grow according to them, and the author uses a term, interesting term here, and this term is called population momentum. Population momentum, my friend. Population momentum. What is this population momentum? UPSC can ask this question. What do you mean by population momentum? Population momentum is nothing but the increase in population, which is because majority of the population is a young population in the marriage age group, and they are going to produce children. So population will keep on increasing, although the fertility rate is decreasing, my friend, but because majority of the people are in the marriage age group, that is what happening is that population will grow. Although the fertility rate is reducing, but the population will grow, and if the population will grow, the working age population will also grow, my friend. So the author says that the analysis done by Ruchir Sharma is not completely correct. India will not face the labor shortage problem. India is not going to face the labor shortage problem which other developed countries have faced because of the decline in the fertility rate. You must have come across the report of the National Family Health Survey last month, which said that the Indian fertility rate is already now below the replacement rate of 2.1. And in that context, it says that India might face a population shortage, but it says that no, India will not face a population shortage, which happened in US, which happened in other developed countries, India is not going to face a labor shortage problem. On the other hand, what the editorial says that India has to basically now rise to the occasion. India has to rise to the occasion because this window of opportunity is not going to stay for longer time. And if India has to become a middle income country, or India has to become a higher income country, India has to leverage this demographic transition which is happening. And to leverage this demographic transition, my friend, we have to upskill, we have to upskill, we have to increase the productivity of our workforce, productivity of our workforce. So productivity can only increase by skilling, productivity can only scale by skilling, labor productivity. Further, what the author says that India has to improve the productivity of the economy, not just the labor force. How? By basically improving the infrastructure, my friend. By improving the infrastructure, we all know the logistics cost in India is around 14 to 13%, which is one of the highest in the world. Logistics cost can be reduced by improving the logistics, and that is why a government of India has come with a scheme called Gati Sakti, my friend. So this is what it talks about, and the thrust of the author in the editorial is on basically skilling. We need to skill our labor force. Further, what the author says that India should not become protectionist like other countries. India should go for free trade agreements. India should join the free trade agreements in various agreements. Like recently also many debates were there, should India join RCEP or not. So India should join free trade agreements, because with that only India can go for export-led growth. Consumption-led growth is not going to basically able to take the per capita income high. Only export-led growth can do, and we have to somehow boost our exports. This editorial talks about, and for boosting our exports, we have to improve our productivity of economy, we have to improve our competitiveness of economy, and that can only be increased by basically overall competitiveness of economy must be increased by increasing the efficiency of the economy, by increasing the infrastructure of the economy, by improving the ease of doing business, at the same time improving the productivity of the labor force. Without that, India will not be able to compete at the export market of the world. And that is what the editorial basically has a focus on. If India has to use this, leverage this demographic potential, then India has to basically make his house in the order, make his house in its order. Okay, now let us see the question today. Let us try to frame a question on this topic. Okay, the question is, okay, will Indian demographic dividend, okay, turn into demographic drag, okay, drag. Okay, this is a question. So I have already, my friends, I have explained you what is demographic dividend, because it is very important that in the beginning, in the introduction, you explain what is demographic dividend. It is very important. Okay, it is very important. And then you, with the data, with the help of data, explain why India is placed in a favorable situation, to use this demographic dividend. Here you can make use of the fertility rate and the working age population share. You can use this. Okay, then what you do, you can change the paragraph and you can tell why concerns are that this can turn into demographic drag. What are the concerns? The concerns are very significant. First concern is the lack of jobs or a high levels of unemployment, Okay, that is the biggest concern. Indian unemployment rate is at the peak. In the last 45 years, I'm telling you that this kind of unemployment rate was not seen, particularly unemployment among the educated class. This is a very big problem, and this is the biggest challenge as far as demographic dividend is concerned. The second point is jobless growth. The growth which is taking place is jobless growth. The third point is the the population, the quality of the population, the health, the education is not very good. Yesterday only we have discussed the problem of malnourishment in India. The quality of education has a huge scope for improvement. Then you can talk about skills. Okay, you can talk about skills. Then you can talk about the increasing deglobalization and protectionism. So these are the challenges. Which can and fast aging population. Now we have an aging population also. These can be the drag. These are the concerns. Then you can change the paragraph, and you can write, no, everything is not lost. Still we can catch the bus. As a civil service aspirant, you have to be optimistic in your answer. Still we can catch the bus. How can we catch the bus? First and foremost, we have to start skilling. We have to invest in education and health. Third, we have to boost our manufacturing. See, manufacturing can only create the jobs which our youths are looking for, because manufacturing is the labor intensive sector. Service sector is not labor intensive sector, my friends. Service sector is not labor intensive. It is a manufacturing sector which can create the semi-skilled and unskilled jobs, which most of the Indian youths are that level. It is a manufacturing, my friend. Then basically FTAs, free trade agreements. We have to sign a lot of free trade agreements. We have to improve the productivity of economy, infrastructure, ease of doing business. All these things you can take. And last, you will write a concluding remark. See, conclusion is a must. To score very high marks in the UPSC examination, conclusion is a must. In the end, you will write that India at present is uniquely placed to harness demographic dividend, but it must invest in skilling and create the jobs for our youth. Create sufficient jobs for our youths. Okay, this is it. So my friends, I hope that this discussion on the editorial and on the answer was helpful to you. Please give a thumbs up. Please give a like, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and please share with your friends who are struggling to write good answers. In these answer writing session, my only agenda is to empower each and every aspirant so that the fear of answer writing is